Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shanghai20 at YouTube.com. Your boy King Redalia over there, and we're just here talking about the Flash Arrow crossover. I just finished checking it out again. I had to go watch it again just to see how everything was or how I could remember everything so I could talk about it. And holy shit, guys!
That episode is sick.
That episode was fucking serious, man. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about superhero shows. We're starting to get to the point where everything's starting to hit on all cylinders. Like, it's not so much of a explanation thing or like a setup thing, like, oh, how's this going, how this set up, or how this started. It's starting to go full throttle into it. So, like, when you first start the show, it's talking about how Barry's still not faster than Zoom, and which I thought was pretty cool. If you guys been watching The Flash, which you should be, because it's one of the best shows to watch, it's fucking great. Fucking Zoom beats the shit out of Barry. Spoiler alert, sorry, if you haven't watched it, fuck you, you should be watching stuff.
Yep, you're a dumbass.
You're a dumbass. I'm sorry, he's sorry, we're all sorry for you for being a dumbass, but you're a dumbass. Go watch The Flash. Do yourself a favor, get some fucking recordings, get somebody with a DVR who's your friend, and watch them shits.
Hey, if you got cable, go to the CW, sign on, you can watch all them episodes.
Watch it at the CW. But it's pretty cool. I thought this whole episode was a real cool juxtaposition between the shows, between Arrow and Flash, just to show kind of how both cast reacts to things differently. Because well, we'll get into that in a few minutes, but the whole Vandal Savage opening, for me personally, I kind of thought it should have been a little more grandiose, a little cooler than that. I don't know. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. He was trying to act all secret-y, but still,
Yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I thought the fight scene where it happened, how he got there, was pretty cool, but how it started, how he got there, I felt very blah about it.
Yeah, it's because he really came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. Like, literally, it's like, okay, episode starts. Some guy was in the boat, and we fucking captured him, and he was quiet for 3 weeks.
Yeah, why was he quiet? Why didn't he just hijack the boat, just go do whatever he had to do?
Or why did he even go on a boat? Like, he's an immortal that has so much plans and everything set up. Why didn't he have his own boat?
And if you read it in the comics or know anything about it, he's stupid rich.
He's stupid. Well, come on. Think about it in realistic terms. A man who lived forever, who's been there through every civilization. He has a crazy myriad of wealth. Has to have. There's no reason for him to do what he did to get into the show. Now, once he got there, I thought it was a pretty decent performance. I thought he played it serious, kind of mysterious type villain, almost kind of like how Bane did it in like the beginning of the third Batman movie, which we shall not bring up again. Everyone hates that movie. If you don't, fuck you, because you should. It was bad.
Fuck you again.
And fuck you again. That's 4 fuck yous between the two of us, because you shouldn't like that movie. But anyway, I thought how he got there was pretty decent. How he got there was bad, but I felt when he got there, he got his point across, and he did a really good job. After that, really, it was about the whole subplot between Kendra or Shaira, or however they wanted to call her. I didn't really like how they did that, because even in the comic books, even if you guys watch Old Justice League, her name is Shaira Hall, and I thought it was pretty crazy how he even brung up their aliases. Like, hers is Kendra something, and he said his name was Daniel Hall or something Hall. And if you look in the comic books, that is Hawkman's name. The Hawk. Now there's a big thing that me and Redalia was talking about the alien aspect with the reincarnation aspect. And if you guys want to go look deeper into it, just the fucking internet, and go right the fuck ahead. But she definitely is a Themyscirian. She is an alien. I don't know if they're gonna do that in this show. But in comic books, even in the Justice League cartoon, she is an alien. She is absolutely from a different planet. But she also has some kind of reincarnation elements to her storyline that is connected to human Hawkman. Because there is Hawkmen from Themyscira, and then there is this man
that's similar to them somehow.
That's similar. Well, he is the reincarnation of Shaira's lover from like ancient times, but he's legitimately reincarnated as a human. And so in the comic books, even in the Justice League, he makes wings for himself. He has like a harness with wings, and he has the helmet. He made it all himself, so it's not on the same level as hers. Personally, like I didn't like this Hawkman. I thought he was kind of
Douche.
he's kind of a douche, but he was also kind of dry. Every line he talked was like very scriptish.
And if you know anything about the Flash, watching it, it feels right. The acting is right.
And see, for me personally, that's why I think the Flash is like the top of the action, I'd say, superhero genre of shows. Agents of Shield is pretty good if you like that type of stuff, like the behind the scenes, get to know how everything's running type of stuff. Flash is like all out fun. It's fun. It's crazy in terms of graphic wise. It's crazy in terms of how they meld the plots, because I'd say out of everything, they're the ones that literally do like almost straight comic book shit. Like Gorilla Grodd was in there, and he was a big ass gorilla using telepathic shit to do stuff. Like, I mean, not even so many shows are even having the guts to do this kind of stuff. So for me, I thought the Flash was like ridiculous. Um, the whole subplot between Hawkgirl and Vibe, or Kendra and Cisco. Oh, spoiler! Well, fuck that. This whole thing is spoiler alert. The whole thing with Vibe and Hawkgirl, I thought was fantastic. I thought they should have kept that, because Cisco is I think a great character and a great comic relief for the entire series. Don't you think so? Like, he's a good character. Like, I like how they did it. So for me, like, having this whole subplot about how they're like how Cisco doesn't want to ruin anything between them, I thought was kind of weird. But like it's you know, it's shows, so they're gonna try to keep it fill along the line side of that. But then they have the whole, I like to say, the get to know you party, because it like for some reason, and this is a big problem for me, the Team Flash wanted to go to Team Arrow because, like, Barry says, oh, you know, this guy, he seems magical to me.
Which made no sense at that point in the show.
No sense.
None whatsoever.
I was actually pretty disappointed about that. Like, this episode was really good, but they had goofy elements to it. Like, there's no reason why Barry would think that this guy is magical. If anything, he could thought he was a fucking a metahuman. I don't know, because he was throwing knives really well. Like, the knives were hitting their marks.
As I was saying, the only thing I could think of was when he grabbed the knives and then Val Savage disappeared. Like, okay, but we've seen people do that.
Yeah, I mean, and it was kind of awkward, because it was like, all right, we got to go to Star City because Oliver knows about magical things, and it's, you know, he'll know what to do. And it's like, at this point, you got to ask yourself, how the fuck do you even think it's magical? Where's magic coming into the equation right now? So, like, for me, I thought it was cool, though, because, like, there is starting to incorporate magical elements into the Arrow, which I thought is really cool, having somebody like Damien Dark.
And you know anything about DC, magic is a big part of it.
Magic is not only is it a big part of the DC universe, but it's like a underbelly. Like, if you would think about how the DC world works, it's like main superheroes like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash. Then you get to that subsection where it's like villains, anti-heroes, you know, people that live on the cracks. And then you get to like the magical side of the DC universe, which a lot of people who don't have to do with magic don't even want to fuck with. Because it's bloody and usually never turns out well. And before the New 52, it's a little from hell.
Before I leave, there's one thing I gotta say. Shazam.
And he's gone. But I mean, I'd say like this in terms of how everything broke down with like the first meeting between the new Team Arrow and the new Team Flash. I loved it for the fact that you can see the clear differences between the two teams. You know, in Arrow, if you guys haven't watched it, there's always a lot of secrets involved in Team Arrow. You know, everyone's got stuff to say. Everyone's got, you know, their own hidden agendas. their own hidden agendas and everything like that. Barry has secret. I mean, Oliver has secrets from Speedy, and Diggle's brother is back in the picture, who they didn't know or don't know why he's doing what he's doing right now. I'm not going to spoil the Arrow just because you might want to check that out for yourself. This is only going to be for this episode, but there's always a lot of conflict between the people in Arrow, and a lot of people don't like they're not always sharing information with each other as they should. Whereas in Team Flash, they're pretty much like open to almost everything to each other. They don't really keep secrets, and I love that dynamic because you'll have things like Felicity come up and go, "Oh my God, I'm glad to see you're okay. Why didn't you tell me that Zoom broke your back?" These things, like, I love the connections between two. So it's like Felicity might not have been there for any of that stuff that happened, but it's definitely a like we're keeping tabs on each other. We're not you're not alone in this whole situation, which I thought was really cool. And just the introduction between the characters. Though one question I didn't have that I had that I didn't really like is that I don't know there was a cool moment that Cisco got saved and he's like, oh, you saved my ass, Barry, and he's like, oh shit, like Hawk Girl's right behind me, and it's like, oh dude, you just blew my whole secret. And I thought that was like really hilarious. Like, it was a very, very humorous part of the episode. But it's like, now that now we're gonna let you into everything, which I thought was kind of weird. It's like I said, this episode was really good, but it had little silly parts that it made me wonder about why bring Kendra along on all this information. But it's still very cool. I always love the banter between Cisco and Felicity. It's always hilarious because they're both geniuses. They're both very strong personalities. Felicity way more than Cisco, but it's like, oh, what did you do? Did you not even read the schematics? What's going on here? Why don't you have copper wiring? Because all your systems are gonna burn out. And of course, like Felicity with a cool talk, she's like, well, it didn't do that only one time. It did it one time. Oh, it did it yesterday. So it's like, I love Felicity. She's like the glue for almost all these people. For me, like, that's what always made me like her character. Plus, she's just dropped dead beautiful. So, you can never hate that so much. But like for me, like those scenes were the ones that like brung the whole episode together because Cisco didn't want to talk about how he had powers, so he confided in Barry that about his vision and that he thinks that vision is for Hawkgirl, but in terms he didn't want her to know because he didn't want anything to change between the two of them, and like the next 2 seconds is like, oh, we don't have any information about Vandal Savage, and it's like, oh, well, Cisco has powers. It's like they have secrets on Team Flash, but it's not so important that they wouldn't tell. He didn't want Kendra to know that he had powers, but he knew the mission was most important, so he did it anyway. And for me, I thought that's another huge difference between the Arrow and the Flash. The Flash is a lot more fantastic and a lot more camaraderie. Like, I mean, Team Arrow has way more people on it, and they work as a unit way better. But the fact of the matter is that in Team Flash, it's a small-knit group of people, and they all work together pretty closely. So having secrets for them isn't really like that. They're not to mention that they keep it very light over in the Flash. I love that about the Flash. A lot of episodes aren't about really internal things since the first season. First season was really great for that. It had a lot of internal feelings for a lot of the characters. This one, it's more external. A lot of times it's them versus people. It's not them versus themselves or inner demons. I mean, it was a little bit earlier on, but like Flash's dad came through and fixed a lot of that. But for me, I thought it was really cool to have the whole get to know you like scene in the middle of all of that. Plus, I have to talk about the great like dialogue between the Flash characters and Arrow characters just in meeting, because like when Flash first comes to Star City to talk to Oliver, they're getting attacked by Damien Dark, which was a pretty hilarious scene. I like the dude who plays Damien Dark. I think he plays a really good bad guy. But Flash brings him out, and like Speedy's like, we know the Flash. That's the Flash. Do we know? We know the Flash, so we know the Flash now. Like I didn't know didn't know the Flash. I love that exchange. Like it shows the big difference between the shows that literally in the time period that it takes, uh, Speedy Red Arrow to switch up from his sister from Roy to his sister. She didn't get filled in on that we know the Flash and that the world is bigger than you thought. And that's what I love about the Flash. It's bringing in the multiverse, Earth 2, Earth 3, all that stuff, along with, all the amazing things like Flash and everything. John Diggle, when he gets pulled out, he throws up. He goes every time, because these are things that people aren't used to, and as an observer, as somebody who's watching the shows, we take for granted, that well, I wouldn't say for granted, but it's a show. We know it's a show. We know he can run fast. We've been watching it. But when it comes to, let's say, the real world of the Flash and the Arrow and the DC universe as a TV verse, they all aren't used to that kind of stuff. So when you get like reactions like how Speedy was like, "Oh my God, it's the Flash," and Diggle throwing up because he's not used to getting pulled out in Mach 1, you know what I mean, by the Flash, and that's like I love those interactions. I think they're so cool. Like the interactions between Flash and Diggle and Flash and Felicity. Those things I think like fleshes out the personalities characters so much better than most things. And just having like the first fight between, let's say, when they had the first fight between Vandal Savage and the team was by far my favorite part of the episode. Having Vandal Savage versus the Arrow, Speedy, Flash, like it was ridiculous. Like Flash doing what he had to do. I'm not going to spoil everything for you if you haven't seen it, but I do suggest you go out and see it because it was really, really, really great. But like after that, it was about I don't know, a staff really. They wanted it. Vandal Savage wanted to get some kind of staff to, I guess, enhance his powers because he couldn't fight Team Arrow and Team Flash, so he went to get this new staff. I mean, the introduction to all that was the League of Assassins and the new Ra's al Ghul, which I mean, I found it really hilarious how he kept popping in and out of the scenes like that, like out of nowhere, out of a dark corner. It's like 12 dudes and Ra's al Ghul. It's like, oh, well, we're the League of Assassins. We'll just pop in and say hi. Like, I found it kind of weird, but it was also really cool. So, I mean, it was nice to see how the world is being built and how it's getting bigger and bigger with a larger cast of characters that, can be called out the woodwork. That's why I can't wait for something with Constantine maybe, or bring some more people in. But like after that point, it's really about kind of setting up for Legends of Tomorrow, and really, I think it's a lot of like Cisco beating, man, because like from from the show, like you find out that like Shayera or Hawkgirl is being like held back. Something's holding her back from reaching her potential, or what Hawkman says is an awakening, which like brings out her wings and I guess her latent memories of her past lives and stuff like that. And she says she has to do it alone, and Cisco might be holding her back, and it felt really weird to me. Like Cisco's not doing anything but trying to help you. He's got powers too. There shouldn't be any kind of reason why they shouldn't still try to be together, unless they're trying to like push an angle for Hawkman and Hawkgirl to be together, of course. Which I mean, I'm not quite liking as much. And like they're building like in these shows they're building Hawkman and Hawkgirl like with Vandal Savage, like they're connected in some way, which I personally didn't care for either. I thought that was kind of whack, but it was pretty good. Like I thought they did a really good job on just like showing real personality in that scene because she they tell her that she should jump off a roof and that would awaken her powers. And the Flash is like, "What are you doing? This is stupid." Looks to Oliver like, "Oliver, you're the dude who asks questions. You're the dude who does the detective stuff. You're really just gonna let this girl jump off the roof?" And she jumped off, and Flash did what I would have done, what Flash would have done, what anybody would have done, ran down the building and saved her. So I mean, a lot of this stuff, like I love about the Flash, sometimes makes a little less sense on a higher level. Um, but I mean, it still worked out. I think that the genuine the girl who plays Hawk Girl is a beautiful woman, and she delivers the lines pretty well. I mean, hopefully in Legends of Tomorrow she gets to flush out her chops a little more because it'll need a little work. But it was still some pretty decent scenes. The side plot with Caitlin and Harrison Wells creating some kind of steroid that enhances the speed force in people. It was pretty cool. I liked it in terms of just how are they going to be able to breach that gap because in the beginning they say that the Reverse Flash is like 4 times faster than Barry right now. So like they made the serum to try to make him on par with him for a little bit. It's not a permanent. They said it was just for a certain amount of time. But like they wanted to test it on Jay Garrick, and he had a huge problem with it. Which I mean I'm still not quite sure why they're keeping Jay Garrick around. They could have either made him more integral to the story or just left him alone. I don't know why keep bringing him in and out is such a good idea, but I mean, his performances. He does do a great job on his lines, but his performances are always leaving me wondering, like, what is he doing there? But like Harrison Wells gets shot by Patty Spivot, and I felt that was like one of the hilarious scenes, laugh out loud scenes in the whole thing, because she literally has the gun drawn, and she's like, "Yo, don't move, I'm gonna shoot you." He goes, "You're not gonna shoot me," and just walks right up to her and gets shot. Like, what the fuck? Have you not seen the news? I'm black, so I know you're not. If somebody has a gun on me and they said I'm a cop and don't move, I'm not gonna move because I will be shot. So I thought that was kind of weird, but it was also a way to make Jay Garrick use the speed serum, and it worked, of course. And they helped him, and he didn't die, so that was cool. But like I mean, in terms of how everything worked out, I I felt there was a long way around to get to using the Speed Force serum and seeing how it worked. Like I thought that was a long way around just to do that. Um, and I mean the show was getting really intense. I love the ramping up to the Legends of Tomorrow. I think it's a great idea. Um, I'm not going to spoil anything else for you because it was there's a few spoilers in there that I'm not that if you want to watch you can definitely go ahead and watch, but I'm not going to bring it up so much. I'm just going to take this little time out to talk about kind of Supergirl, where I've been trying to keep an eye on it really, and I've been pretty disappointed in what they're doing. The dialogue is a little childish. It's a little Disney cartoonish, but for me, the biggest problem, the biggest problem of Supergirl is the graphics. And I mean, I've said this from the beginning of the Flash, before the Flash even came out. If his running was not done correctly, this show would not work. If you didn't look at him running and go, this is not believable, the show would fall flat on its face. And I find the Supergirl to be a culprit of that exact problem. They do angles like from Christopher Reeve's run as Superman in the movies. She's literally like they just show her flying like this. This is the picture exactly how she looks when she's flying. And it's fucking pathetic. There was one scene that I liked. They had her arms back, hair blown in the wind, cape blown in the wind, because her character is she's a teen, young woman, and she's enjoying her powers. She loves to fly around and feel the wind in her face and things like that. in Supergirl, they're just not doing good angles. Like, it's bad angles. It's 80s angles for flying. Like, stop having close up shots of her doing this. It's stupid. It's stupid. It looks unbelievable, and it was disappointing to me. I didn't like it. I think they're not utilizing the graphics right. Like, if you can get her flying down, if you can get her flying combat down, if you can get her superpowers better adapted to the screen, it would work. But it doesn't. Like, when you see Barry run, it looks believable. You see the cars shake when he goes by, and there's ambient things happening around as he's running. For Supergirl, it doesn't look that way. It looks bad. It looks low budget. It looks like somebody's making it with less than the money that NBC has to offer, which they have a lot of money. And I'm hearing that the Supergirl hasn't got picked up for season 2, so that's where this whole thing about the Flash may be doing a little crossover with Supergirl, which would be really cool. I would go for that in a heartbeat. When we can get Flash, Supergirl, and Green Arrow, it'd be really great. I mean, they're already starting to build this really great DC universe. So, I mean, I think that it was a really great episode, and we're going back to the crossover between the Flash and Arrow. Though it was a great episode, a great starter for the Legends of Tomorrow to introduce Kendra or Hawkgirl and to introduce Vandal Savage. I thought he did leave a pretty good impression. I mean, he did get beat by Team Arrow, Team Flash, but they couldn't stop him. And that's what I'm thinking is going to be the biggest part of Legends of Tomorrow, because he's going to be the main bad guys of that. He's going to be the big bad. And, like, I mean, I think that if they do this right, he can be a fantastic big bad, because Vandal Savage, if you guys check in the comic books, is that crazy and is that much of a big bad. So, in short, guys, I thought that the crossover was really great. I think that the juxtaposition between Team Arrow and Team Flash, and you put them together, I thought it was really funny and really entertaining to see, you know, the different personalities meeting and kind of sharing information. You know, I thought that was really cool. Cisco giving Hawkgirl the name was pretty cool. So, guys, tell me, what do you think? Where do you think that the character Vandal Savage, where do you think they're going to take that whole thing where they're linked together with Hawkgirl and Hawkman? And where do you think they're going to take that whole thing and bring it over to Legends of Tomorrow? Because it doesn't look like the actor who was Hawkman is going to be in Legends of Tomorrow. So write in the comments below about what do you think about Vandal Savage and where you think they're going to take his character. So, you know, this is just a TV vlog about Flash and Arrow. If you guys like my stuff, please don't forget to subscribe to Shanghai20 at YouTube.com. Also, my Facebook page at Shanghai20 on Facebook.com. We're gonna check out the Arrow crossover with the Flash and the Arrow pretty soon. So, guys, take it easy. I'll see you later. Never give up on your dreams. Shanghai20 at YouTube.com.